Welcome, welcome, essential oil lovers. Today we are going to be talking about essential oils and tolerance. And tolerance is a pretty loaded word. It can mean a lot of different things. We're gonna get there.
I have a quote from my mother I'm debating on whether or not to throw at them.
Is it the one you put in the blog? No,
I
that's
don't
George
think so.
Washington Carver.
I think you deleted some of my Ruger
I
quotes.
did.
Okay.
Anyways, while we're waiting for a few people to join, we're going to give you a little bit of background on us. This is my mom, Loree, and I'm Valerie. And we've been in the essential oil world for long enough that we've lost track, decades. She got into it when I was a pretty young teenager and just started doing oils to help out with her family and started blending to cut down on costs. And here we are.
Because it was fun.
We really like to share our knowledge and educate people on essential oils. We have a favorite brand, of course. We use mostly Butterfly Express, and so that's what we know.
That's because it was my baby. I made the first 100 blends.
That's right. We love Butterfly Express, but we love all oils, and we love everybody who loves oils. If you're using a different brand, that doesn't bother us a bit.
We will help you cross over and make our information fit your needs.
Yep. If you already have a doTERRA blend and you want to know if you have one that's similar to something we're talking about, we don't mind those kind of questions at all. Go for it. Today, as we talk about tolerance, we are going to be talking about a couple of singles, but mostly about 4 or 5 blends. It's going to be rather kind of short today, but those blends are Butterfly blends. But if you are using a different brand, that's no big deal at all. So feel free to go ahead and shoot us over any questions that you have. We like comments. We like questions. And if we don't know the answer, we'll just tell you that we don't know.
And then we'll go find out.
And then we'll probably go find out because
That's
anyway.
who I am.
All right, so let's talk about tolerance. We're going to start with a quote by George Washington Carver that I really liked.
You want me to do it? Okay.
I am.
Resolve to be tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the wrong. Sometime in life, you will have been all of these.
Life is a journey, and we have to be tolerant of people where they are because we've been there or will be there. The word tolerance has a variety of meanings, especially in today's world. The tolerance that we're going to be talking about, though, is the ability to love people as they are and see them for what they can be, and not so much being tolerant with their opinions that are different than yours.
I'm going to throw in my mother's quote here. Mother used to tell me all the time that you should be tolerant and compassionate and kind and gentle, and Mom and Dad lived it. They made sure that my friends included anyone who didn't have friends. But she always said you should not be so open-minded, was her word for that. Open-minded that your brains fell out. That was my mother's advice. So
tolerance never tries to force another person to your way of thinking or being. It just allows them to be who they want to be and you to be who you want to be.
And who you're striving to be, to see to see inside their hearts and what they want to accomplish, even if their road to get there is different than you would think it should be.
True tolerance helps you to shine a light on other people's best qualities rather than pointing out their flaws or trying to change their flaws. So that's kind of where we're going to be going with this. We're going to talk about essential oils that can help you to do that. There are many, many more oils listed in the book, Butterfly Miracles with Essential Oils, and many different emotional ways that you can come after this. But we've picked a few of our favorites. And the first one we're going to talk about.
And any essential oil that balances you emotionally is going to make you more compassionate and tolerant. That's just the way that is.
So this one, the first one is called Believe. And Believe is it's about tolerance for yourself. It's about being more self-forgiving, having more self-love. It is a self-confidence oil. It helps us to just feel more strength in our abilities, more generous, more compassionate, tolerant.
Someone told me the other day that the majority of conversations you will have about a person, about people, will be in your own mind about yourself. And that caused me to kind of keep track of my own mind chatter and reach for the Believe. It's like, okay, quit being so critical of yourself.
Tolerant also helps you to appreciate people around you. So it's not just an oil for yourself, but it can actually help you to appreciate those around you too. The next one is Grace. And Grace is a little bit more of an expensive blend, but it is a great one to just take the lid off and smell once in a while. It's cheap enough it can be diffused, in my opinion. But it's a very unique little oil, as it brings that assurance that everything in your space, everything in your universe is as it should be, and that everything is right. You can relax and enjoy your life while accomplishing what you need to and letting go of the things that you have no control over.
you just can't help but love Grace because it has sandalwood in it.
Yes.
And it also has one that's not been as long in the butterfly line as some oils called xanthoxylum that I believe we
Which is one of the singles we're going to talk
in
about
a few minutes. This was an oil made during a difficult time of my life when being hard on myself was a particular problem. It's part of aging. You look back and you don't see what you've accomplished. You see the things that you wanted to do and didn't. And this was helpful for me. And when I found compassion for myself, then I could be more patient with other people who were still trying to do the things they wanted to do. So.
Yeah. The next one is Grateful Heart, and Grateful Heart, we've talked about that one a lot. If you've listened to very many of our broadcasts, you're probably already quite familiar with Grateful Heart. It does exactly what it says. It helps us to have more gratitude in our lives. It helps us to be grateful for the people around us, to see the things that they're doing for us, which in turn helps us to be more tolerant with them. So
it's really hard to be angry at someone for whom you are grateful. And it turns your whole life around if you think of the good things that people are doing for you rather than the things you wish they had done.
So it's about focusing on the good in people.
Quiet resentment is not a good place to live.
Yeah, it's not. All right, the next one is letting go. And this one is for letting go of negativity, of criticism, of anger, which can help us be more tolerant and compassionate. This is very much a liver oil.
It's very much a basic. If I only had 10 oils from the butterfly line, this one would be right there.
Yeah, that letting go of negativity and anger really has a very physical effect on the kidneys and the liver and the gallbladder. So it's a physical oil, but it's also very emotional in the fact that it helps us to let go of that anger.
When I picture letting go, sometimes I see myself letting go of things, but sometimes I see me cutting the string that's hooked to my back that's keeping me from moving forward. Letting go of that load I'm dragging along behind me every minute. No, that makes no sense.
Yeah. So the last blend is reconciliation, and this is it's very much about connecting family members. It's about reconciling the past. It's about perspective.
It's about understanding that even though you no longer live with your core family, the one into which you were born, it's possible to stay connected. It's possible to reconciliation can have it's an interesting blend. It can almost feel for a time as though you've set yourself apart rather than became more understood. Grace was actually formulated as a follow-up for reconciliation. And they're an interesting duo. I would always recommend using them pretty much together. So,
one thing about reconciliation, it's particularly if there's any type of distance between you and family members, whether that distance is intentional or not. But if you wish to be close to those family members and you can't because they live across the country or in a different place, reconciliation can help us to feel that closeness. And
sometimes it can just help you to realize that you are enough yourself. Yeah. That having everyone understand everything about you and why you think and why you act is not really a necessity to your mental health or stability.
So there's two singles we're going to talk about today, and both of them are very exotic oils. They're both from Nepal, interestingly enough.
As is xanthoxylum. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
The other one is Anthopogon. So Anthopogon and xanthoxylum.
They're the main ingredients of reconciliation and grace.
They are. So Anthopogon is in Grateful Heart. It's also in reconciliation, and it is from Nepal, which I think is very interesting. It has an interesting aroma too. It is, I don't even know how you describe the aroma of Anthopogon. It's just almost one you just have to smell. But emotionally, it just creates a feeling of openness, love, connection, especially where family is concerned, and with old friends. It is in Nepal. It is used as a meditation oil. It's used to help them reflect and to focus on the good.
I happen to believe that where a plant grows and what it survives and what plant family it's in is a lot to do with its healing properties. And Anthopogon is a rhododendron family, and so, but it grows in the high mountains of Nepal. So it's a highly spiritual oil, and at the same time, an oil of rugged perseverance, surviving, becoming, and blossoming in that, not just surviving, but blossoming in all kinds of ways, even in the hardest of environments, and the longest of winter, it still comes back in the spring. So
it's made from the flowers and the leaves. The essential oil is made from the flowers
and the leaves.
So it's very much a floral and leaf oil.
And yet it doesn't really smell all that floral.
No, it's not. There's really no good way to describe the aroma of it.
Anthrapogon and xanthoxylum were both oils that I wanted for such a long time. And my husband and I would look at the price per ounce of the silly things. And I actually had a car, what are those little air things for your car? That was a xanthoxylum chemical clone. That's how bad I wanted that aroma.
It's kind of a balsamy, with undertones of vanilla and conifers. It's an interesting, for a floral, it's different. But one of the interesting things about anthrapogon is if you diffuse it, the longer that it's in the air, it actually becomes more softer and lovelier. So your first initial impression of it won't be the same impression you'll have after 20 minutes.
What it smells like when you hold the bottle under your nose is not what it will be like on your arm in 5 minutes either.
It's an interesting one.
And it adapts itself to every person. It's like it doesn't smell the same on any two people either.
That's part of what's so hard to describe it. It is an interesting little
I
oil.
love the oil, by the way.
So, the next one.
And I'm not a floral person.
The next one, the xanthoxylum, it is really about accepting that we in ourselves are enough, like she was talking about before, that wherever we are in our life is good enough, that we're not broken, we're not damaged, no one needs to fix us or to heal us. It is about the attitude of accepting ourselves.
But it's the kind of acceptance that says, I can be better tomorrow than I was today.
Yeah.
It can be an oil, not so much of repentance as it is growth. It's for the growth stage of acknowledging a fault.
Now, aromatically, xanthoxylum it's a very spicy, refreshing aroma, and it is one that is made actually from the fruit of the plant. So that's an interesting thing. There isn't a lot of information out there about it, and so some people say that it shouldn't be used during pregnancy. I think you'd be fine to use it as part of a blend. And it is part of that Grace blend that we talked about.
I have never had it test up negatively for a pregnant woman.
But blends are always
cautious
safer.
Because I always am, especially with oils new to the market. That they're
or if you're new to essential oils, if they're not something your system is used to, and if you get into oils when you're pregnant, then I would probably stick to the blends, particularly Grace. And one we didn't talk about, it's also in turmoil, which would be another good one.
One thing, there is one good study out there about this oil. And it was a study conducted for how it affected free radical damage in the body and how it affected the liver. So, if you're into Chinese medicine at all, you know that the liver is the seat of anger. And so this definitely makes this a blend, or this particular oil and the things that it's in, which is Grace and Ageless and Turmoil.
Yeah, and Turmoil is
migraine, by the way. So it helps you control the irritability and the anger that is part of a stressed liver or a stressed liver meridian. So pretty amazing little blend. The study included babies of mothers who had been into complications during the pregnancy, had necessitated drugs use, so they studied mothers that used this oil during the pregnancy. They studied the livers of the babies as compared to other babies' livers whose mother had not been on some of those same drugs. So it's an amazing oil for protecting the liver for pregnant mothers. And so that's why, the cautions about pregnancy
are controversial.
Well, they don't follow the studies at all. It's just new. And so being new, all midwives rise up and say, be careful with this one until we understand it better.
So I think I'd use it in a blend just because blends are so much more potent.
Oh, I like blends. There's very few oils.
I might layer it with Letting Go because that's truly a liver one.
Maybe we should add it to Letting Go.
Maybe we should.
Anyway,
we try talking into it anyway.
By the way, xylem, as you can tell, is another one of my favorite.
So this blog that we've just kind of gone through a little bit here will be coming out on tolerance. It'll be coming out this afternoon. But since we've got you here, let's talk a little tiny bit about Turmoil, which is another blend that contains that xanthoxylum. It's not part of the blog, but it's an interesting oil. We're talking about tolerance. And this one is one that really helps to rebuild physical and emotional connections after a trauma or a loss. So that can be an interesting one for tolerance. I don't know if you've ever known anybody that has had some kind of a trauma, particularly like a head trauma or been in a car accident. I myself was in a car accident, and after my head injury, I had a really hard time being tolerant of several people around me. It was like I swear they were there to drive me crazy. Just little things that they'd always done them, and I'm like, why is this just driving me crazy? And I think turmoil would be a great oil for that. Turmoil is also another good oil for the later stages of grief. Anger is part of grief, and turmoil is a great oil
for that stage of it. Yeah.
Yep, keeps it from settling into a deep depression, which is the next stage.
I'm fascinated by the fact that Xanthox Xylem I added it to the migraine oil.
Yeah, that is
making it very effective for migraines that are brought on. I don't think so much as losing your temper as by stuffing that emotion that you want to express. Great oil for protecting the liver and changing emotional patterns.
So yeah, I don't know. This live kind of turned into a Xanthoxylum live, not so much a tolerance.
It kind of did, but I kind of knew it would. Especially if you turned me loose.
So yeah, I guess our number one oil for tolerance would be Xanthoxylum, but the blends were awesome too.
The blends that it's in. Yeah. Or like she says, layer it with letting go, layer it with grateful heart, layer it with whatever.
Cynthia, do you say your last name Angeloni? Is that how you say your last name, or did I totally just slaughter
How
that?
is she going to tell you that?
She said hi, and she said she loves us, which I totally needed to hear today.
I needed to hear that today, yes.
It's been quite a week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my husband and I went on trek with the youth. That was fun. We didn't actually do any of the walking, but we put in our share of steps, according to my watch anyway.
Last week was a pretty hard week all around, and I won't even tell you what I did last week.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's been a rough one. So we'll be back again in 2 weeks, and we're going to talk about herbal preparations. We were going to do it today, but we're going to do some more work on
we were going to do it today? I didn't know that.
Do it today. So anyway, if you joined us today hoping for the herbal preparations, it'll actually be in 2 weeks. So, all right. Thanks for joining us.
I had fun writing that one. That was fun.
She did.
I did. Of course, I always have fun.
And I got a bunch I want to add to it, which is why we're not doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why. All right. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.